Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Dumalang for your aunt and welcome once again. This is Friday Night Live with me, ST and Dhakir Dawood. I'm your host, Faraz Takolia. Dhakir Dawood. We're with you from now until about 9 p.m. tonight or so, inshallah. Dhakir, how's it going on your side there, brother?
All good, man. Can't complain. Just a bit under the weather, but we're still
Yeah.
trying to push and keep moving.
Yeah, I like that black cap there, all G'd out, eh? Can see the money's at the home. There you go. No, lovely. Great to have you on as well. So, yeah, we're coming to you live from our headquarters right here in Johannesburg, South Africa. And we welcome one and all to the show. There's so much happening tonight. We're talking about the Formula One Grand Prix, as obviously Formula One makes its way back onto the tracks. History is made in Austria. The 2020 F1 season is finally getting underway at the Red Bull Ring. Also coming up tonight on the Tech Talk segment, we're talking about, well, two or three rather important things. And one I want to highlight is radiation from cellular towers versus your mobile device on your cell phones, etc. And these devices and peripherals, as you'd like to call, they emit obviously radiation. We're going to talk about how this, together with cell phone towers and as well as 5G, all comes into play, and how we've merged from analog to the digital as well as the 4IR. That and more still to come in the Tech Talk segment. Now, in the sports segment tonight, further on, we are going to be featuring also at around 8:35. Before we jump into sports, we speak to Penny Appeal. More details will be shared with us in that regard at around 8:30. So stay tuned for that. Penny Appeal will be on air with us, inshallah. Then, lastly, around 8:45, we are going to speak to Highlands Park goalkeeper and former Morocco Swallows legend. And we are going to be speaking to Greg Etafia, a Nigerian footballer as well. And we're going to talk about the Olympics that he's taken part in. Highlands Park Football Club. He spent around 12 or 13 years at Morocco Swallows in the PSL. The PSL now no longer being sponsored by EPSA. All of these talking points, there and more still to come. It's now just after 7. Stay tuned, keep it locked to Salam Media. And when we come back, we talk to YUSUF SAHIB. We're talking the
COVID-19 has been declared a global pandemic, and South Africa has called a national lockdown to curb its spread. At this difficult time, the Al Imdad Foundation is assisting informal traders who lose their livelihoods, the homeless, the elderly, and those who are most vulnerable in South Africa and internationally. Let's fight this crisis together. Donate online at alimdad.com or call 0861 786 243 for more information.
Nature's Blends, Black Seed, Kalonji, Sunnah and Hadith Benefit Remedy. Nature's Blends has a variety of natural products to help you take control of your life. Key ingredients being black seed oil, cod liver oil, glucosamine, turmeric, black seed, and Yemeni cedar honey. Add this to your favorite foods or mix with cedar honey to improve health. Black seed has a lot of benefits. Just to mention a few, it's antibacterial, anti-ulcer, anti-inflammatory, and pain-killing, etc. For more information or to order, contact Shakir Kassem on 082 777 8696 or email shakir222@icloud.com or follow at Shakir_ABC on Instagram for all your Sunnah remedy needs. Nature's Blends, bringing nature's finest.
Kurbani, Udhiya, 1441-2020 in Mozambique, under the supervision of ulama at 700 rand per goat. Please note that the meat, etc., will be distributed to the poor. For more information, please contact Maulana Abdullah Egel from Polokwane at 079 290 1130. That's 079 290 1130. You can also email us on abdullahegel91@gmail.com. Closing date Monday, 20th of July, 2020.
الله يا فجرا بدا.
Welcome back to Salam Media, and this is Friday Night Live with me, SD, and obviously Zakir Dawood as well. Live from our headquarters right here in Johannesburg, South Africa. Relatively moderate evening tonight, not that cold, alhamdulillah. Yeah, man, it's been great to be back. Obviously, a few weeks back, I had a bit of a cold as well. I know the feeling is, miserable, feeling cloggy, feeling nauseous, dizzy, body pains, so many things. Going to the masjids nowadays is so different, having to sign registers for the Jummah Salahs. And, the way 2020 is just, there's just so much happening so rapidly. We talk about pace and setting the pace. Zakir, hey, we always, on the ball, trying to be, on the ball in this going on with our lives and how life served us this 2020 this year, eh? How life has just served us with all of these things,
Certainly, and especially in the media space as well, you have to be on the ball and always keeping the ball rolling, regardless of whatever's thrown your way. And COVID-19's definitely tested everybody, and especially us in the media space, of how to adapt and adjust to the circumstances, because COVID has totally thrown all of our content and everything off completely. No one can say that COVID didn't affect their life in any way with regards to work or lifestyle. Everything's just changed, and we have to get used to the new norm that's going to be coming our way.
Well, getting used to the new normal, the president, Ramaphosa, many times has said in his speeches, we should get used to the new normal, things like that. And, it's really something that we just have to take, I think, each day, one day at a time, as it comes. Anyway, let's carry on. The show must continue. We're hoping everybody's in good spirits and in good health wherever you are tuning in, streaming in via the Salam Media website, via the Facebook platform, via the YouTube channel, Salam Media, or wherever you are, whether you are in Tabazambi, whether you are in Toyando, whether you could be out in Zanin or Tabanchu, Tongato as well, wherever you are. Welcome to the program. Right, we are now talking Formula One. And we're talking about the 2020 Grand Prix is getting back underway at the Austrian GP. And a lot took place after more than, I think, 200 days or so. No Formula One action at all. Even the other sporting codes as well, way over 100, 200 days. They haven't had any form of action or activities. So we're going to cross over, and we are now going to be joined by YUSUF Sahib. Tonight we're talking about the Austria Grand Prix. Lots of controversy was happening after a late contact with Lewis Hamilton. And this I'm referring to about Aston Martin Red Bull Racing's Alex Albon with Lewis Hamilton. And we're also going to be talking about the Red Bull Racing team, Max Verstappen as well, and the Austrian Grand Prix and Formula One season coming back to the fore after, as I said, around about 200 days or so. The Austrian Grand Prix makes history. Yusuf Saib, assalamu alaikum. Good evening to you. Welcome to the program.
Walaikum salam. How are you, Sarfaraz, Takia, and Mr. Zakir Dawood? Guys are looking well.
Alhamdulillah, we are all good, in good spirits. I am in good spirits, alhamdulillah, in good health, shukr. We make sure to do the Almighty.
Told me about the cats, I could have, been in sync with you guys. But okay, I didn't get it.
Well, we do know you have your teal-colored Mercedes Patronus AMG cap there. You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to go and fetch it if you'd like. Yusuf, Great to have you with us, man. Hoping you're obviously good and in good spirits. Now, history is being made in Austria as obviously the 2020 F1 calendar is underway at the Red Bull Racing Ring. Now, talk to us a bit about 200 days without Formula One. You, a F1 fanatic, I know personally. How have you been taking it? What were some of your moments? You know, you missed the racing, you missed the practice sessions, we missed the talking points, the interactions on our show, um, on our segment as well. What's some of your talking points before we jump into the Austrian GP?
Well, as you quite rightly pointed out, I'm an F1 fanatic. So with that being said, Formula One is life for me and has been for probably about 15 or 16 years now. So,
Right.
I mean, we would have had the first race underway sometime in March, and we've had to wait until last weekend for the first race of the season. So this has actually been the longest break since a season has ended to the commencement of a new season. So it's been a while. I mean, you obviously miss the racing, the wheel-to-wheel combat, um, and you just miss the whole vibe of everything that goes on. That Formula One brings with it, and of course, we've been doing this now since I think 2018, if I'm not mistaken, the F1 segments. So obviously, in that interval with no F1 happening, it means that we don't have much to discuss in terms of Formula One. But other than that, taking that aside, I've caught up with a lot of the races over the past couple of seasons. 2016 Brazilian Grand Prix was a standout for me. Watching Max Verstappen come through the field, it was a wet race, and he was down in P15 up to P3. But the moves that he made
Now,
that day
we
were
talk
just
about Vettel and the likes. Now, I want to talk a bit about the Austrian GP, and we also want to talk about the Red Bull boss Christian Horner. And he mentioned that it's given a definite no for Sebastian Vettel over any chance of rejoining them for the 2021 season. I felt, in my opinion, maybe it might have been a bit harsh. We don't know what lingered behind the scenes, but looking at the Austrian GP, what do you make of the Austrian GP? Obviously, some of the years have gone by. There's been lots of drama. Multiple safety cars come out to this track sometimes, and sometimes we have a free-flowing, hardcore end-to-end race. What do you make of the Austrian GP?
Well, the race itself last week I thought was pretty good. It was quite action-packed from the get-go. Obviously, we know Lewis was given a 3-place grid penalty just before the start of the race for not slowing down under the yellow flags during qualifying. That meant he started the race back P5, so he had some work to do. And then obviously he got himself back into second place behind Valtteri Bottas before he went about catching Valtteri at a fast rate of knots, to be fair. And there were a couple of safety cars in that race. I think it was in the last safety car restart that Lewis didn't get quite the best start, and that gave Alex Albon a good run at him, going all the way up into turn 3, and the exit of turn 3 coming up towards turn 4 is where he got a real run at him in terms of getting a slipstream and a tow from Lewis Hamilton's car. And then a bit of clumsy racing from Lewis, to be fair. Although I am a diehard Lewis Hamilton fan, it has to be said it was a bit of clumsy racing because, Albon was quite ahead of him at that point, and he should have given Albon just a little bit of room, either tap out at that point or, turn his steering wheel a little bit more to the right just to accommodate for Albon. Unfortunately, they made contact, and Lewis then got another penalty of 5 seconds, which was added to his race time at the end of the race. So, although he finished second on the track after he added the penalty, he ended up down into P4. So, not good stuff from him. Great stuff from Valtteri Bottas, it must be said. I think he was sensational in qualifying the 1 lap. He only really got 1 lap in because in his second run is where he made a mistake on the exit of 4 towards 5. So that meant that he wasn't able to improve on his lap. But great stuff, as I said, from him in terms of qualifying and his restarts and just generally handling the pressure from Lewis Hamilton, because Lewis was within his slipstream for quite a fair amount of time. And, we know Lewis over the years has been quite good at putting pressure on his opponents and forcing them into some form of an error, but that wasn't the case from Valtteri's point of view. So much like last season to this season, he started off the season quite well with a pole, and of course finishing that out with a race victory. So great stuff from him. Great stuff from Lando Norris, McLaren getting a podium there in P3.
Now looking at these positions that you mentioned, and the performance of these races, right? Team-wise, looking at now, the calendar just come back, and we know about a week or two ago. I remember, the Formula One were going to announce the calendar, right? Now, there's also, for those who don't know, the Styrian Grand Prix, which is the second Austrian GP. It's not only the circuit hosting, multiple F1 races this season, with Silverstone being thrashed out, and a deal of, consecutive races are coming next month, right? Basically, what I want to move on to now, the next chunk of 2020 races. Now, what, after looking at the Austrian GP, after 200 days of Formula One, what next now for the next chunk of races to come on the calendar? Do you see tactics having dramatically changed from a team perspective? We have about 2 minutes, but I just want to sum that up. And team performance and car performance, 200 days, a lot of things could have been tweaked and changed and remodeled. It's a lot of time, strategically. That's what I'm getting at. What do you make from the Austrian, from what you've seen based on the team performances? I mean, pre and post the lockdown and all COVID situation.
Well, obviously, you mentioned the calendar. Obviously, if the season had gone according to plan, we would have a 21 race calendar, but that's clearly not going to happen. We do have Grand Prix now coming thick, fast, and in a hurry. So we've got a Grand Prix this weekend. We've got a Grand Prix next weekend in Hungary as well. The important thing is now, obviously, that we've got a revised calendar. So that's the thing that we've got to keep in mind. We know Mugello was added to the calendar. That's a track that's owned by Ferrari, and that track will host Ferrari's 1,000th race in Formula One as well. So we've got, as I said, Mugello is now added into that mix as well. So as the season, obviously,
many people don't know about this whole Mugello for the first time, the occasion of Ferrari's 1,000th race. That, I think, it was supposed to have been in September or so.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. So now, as you were mentioning, looking at the whole calendar and how things are changing. What also I want to know is this weekend's race. What can we expect here after looking at last week? What are you looking forward to as well?
Well, if we look at last weekend's Grand Prix, Mercedes showed that in terms of out-and-out pace, there's no team that can actually match them at this point. So we would expect Mercedes to be probably locking out the front row of the grid as they did last weekend. In terms of their race pace, they seem to be excellent in terms of
pace and dominance in that regard. Yeah.
Their strategy in line, Mercedes just seems to be the team to beat. And hence, last weekend, we know that Max Verstappen had an issue with his car very early on in the race, but he actually chose to run it with a different set of tires, the harder set of tires, to give himself a chance at a different strategy of maybe potentially upsetting a Mercedes 1-2. But obviously we won't know how that would have played out, because, as I said, he's had a bit of an issue. So you may find teams trying to go at a different strategy, probably use a harder set of tires, which will allow them to obviously run for a longer stint in the race compared to what the Mercedes may be able to do, and just somewhere in there try to get track position. And we know track position is king in Formula One, because it's very easy to close up to a car behind, but it's not that always easy just to simply pass another car, given the dirty air effect that comes off from these cars. So taking that into consideration, I would expect a Mercedes dominance. We know that Ferrari have brought the upgraded package that was supposed to be introduced in Hungary to this, so they fast-tracked that process. We'll obviously have to wait for all 3 practice sessions to play out first before we can actually get an idea if that package has made any form of a difference to them. Because if last 6
in concluding the segment, as we are unfortunately pushing for time, I mean, this we can go on. The passion is there for it. But your final standings, do you see a Mercedes 1-2? Do you see a Red Bull 1-2-3? Who do you see on the podium?
I see Lewis Hamilton for pole. I see Lewis Hamilton for win, and I see Lewis Hamilton for fastest lap.
One, two, three. That's it. Well, Lando Norris, and we know
that's to come in second in all 3 of that also. So Mercedes 1.
Well, also, Verstappen, let's not undermine his strength there as well. Yusuf Sahib, always great to have you with us on Salam Media. Great chatting with you once again. Enjoy the Formula One the weekend and your weekend as well. And we'll chat again hopefully next week, same time. Inshallah. You take care, my brother. Thanks again.
Jazakallah for Ras. My pleasure.
Assalamu alaikum. That's our F1 enthusiast and for the Friday Night Live with SD show, Yusuf Sahib. It's now 7:30. We'll take a quick ad break. And when we come back, we're then going to speak to Jan van Malen. Now, we're talking about the different types of radiation being emitted from your cell phone versus radiation to your cell phone mast. And in addition to that, I'm posing a question. What about 5G's radiation and how all 3 are correlating together? That and more still to come. Stay tuned.